The world of financial trading is often depicted as a high-speed chase. It is a world of flashing lights, aggressive shouts, and complex mathematical models that attempt to predict the unpredictable. To the outsider, it looks like a battle of intelligence, a race of the fastest fiber optic cables and the most sophisticated algorithms. But ask anyone who has stood in the eye of the storm, anyone who has managed millions of dollars while the market is crashing, and they will tell you a different story. They will tell you that trading is not a battle against the market. It is a battle against the self. In the quiet corners of ancient Japan, long before the first stock exchange was ever conceived, a different kind of warrior was being forged. These were the samurai, and later the merchant philosophers who understood that the external world is merely a reflection of our internal state. They developed a series of mental frameworks designed to navigate uncertainty, fear, and the chaotic nature of existence. Today, these philosophies are not just historical artifacts, they are the most powerful yet underutilized tools in the modern trader's arsenal. Welcome to the Zen of the markets. In this journey, we're going to strip away the indicators and the noise. We're going to look deep into the heart of human behavior. We will explore how the concept of Shoshin, the beginner's mind, can prevent the arrogance that leads to bankruptcy. We will see how Kaizen, the art of continuous improvement, can turn a losing strategy into a fortune over time. We will learn how wabi-sabi allows us to find peace in the inevitable losses, and how the discipline of the samurai creates an immovable mind that no market volatility can shake. This is not a guide on how to read charts. This is a guide on how to read yourself. For in the world of trading, the person who masters their own mind is the only one who truly survives. Let us begin the path of the warrior trader. Imagine a young student visiting a Zen master. The student is eager to show off his knowledge, talking endlessly about his theories on life and spirituality. The master listens in silence and begins to pour the student a cup of tea. He fills the cup, but then he keeps pouring. The tea overflows, spilling across the table and onto the student's robes. "Stop," the student cries. "The cup is full. No more will go in." The master looks at him and says, "Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" In the world of trading, this full cup is the greatest silent killer of accounts. It is what we call the expert mindset. When a trader has a few wins, something dangerous happens. Their ego begins to expand. They start to believe they have solved the market. They become rigid. They develop theories. The market must go up because the economy is strong, or this stock is too cheap to fall any further. They have filled their cup with their own biases. When the market moves against them, they don't see reality. They see what they want to see. They ignore the warning signs because an expert cannot be wrong. This is why we must embrace Shoshin, the beginner's mind. In the beginner's mind, there are infinite possibilities. In the expert mind, there are few. To trade with Shoshin is to approach the screen every single morning as if it were your first day. It is the practice of stripping away your expectations and your ego. A trader with a beginner's mind doesn't care about being right. They only care about what is happening right now in front of them on the chart. Think about the psychological freedom that Shoshin provides. If you are a beginner, a loss is not a blow to your identity. It is simply a lesson. It is data. If you are an expert, a loss is a personal insult. It triggers anger, denial, and the urge to get back at the market, the disastrous revenge trade. The Shoshin trader watches the price action like a scientist watches an experiment. They are not rooting for one outcome. They are observing the process. They realize that the market is a vast, chaotic ocean, and no matter how much experience they have, they are still just a small boat upon its surface. By keeping the cup empty, they remain fluid. They can change direction the moment the market changes. They don't fight the current, they flow with it. To master Shoshin is to understand that the market is always new. Every candle, every trend, every moment is unique. History may rhyme, but it never repeats exactly. If you enter a trade thinking you know exactly what will happen, you are already at risk. But if you enter a trade with curiosity, with an open mind, and with the humility to say, "I will let the market show me the way," you have already achieved a level of mastery that 90% of traders will never know. Empty your cup. Only then can the market fill it with profit. In the aftermath of World War II, Japan was a nation in ruins. Its infrastructure was destroyed, its economy shattered, and its spirit tested. Yet, from these ashes rose a global industrial superpower. How did they do it? The answer lies in a single word: Kaizen. Kai meaning change, and Zen meaning good. Together, they represent the philosophy of continuous, incremental improvement. In the Western world, we are obsessed with the big win. We want the breakthrough, the overnight success, the one trade that changes our life forever. But in the world of professional trading, the big win is often a trap. It leads to overconfidence and the abandonment of discipline. The true masters of the market do not look for leaps, they look for millimeters. They understand that a 1% improvement in their process every day leads to an astronomical transformation over a year. Think about your trading strategy as a living organism. Most traders find a strategy, try it for a week, and if it doesn't make them rich immediately, they discard it and look for the next shiny object. This is the opposite of Kaizen. A Kaizen-minded trader finds a foundation and then begins the relentless process of refinement. They ask themselves the hard questions. Can I reduce my average loss by just 5%? Can I hold my winners for 2% longer? Can I sharpen my entry by waiting for one more confirmation candle? These changes seem insignificant in isolation. If you improve 1% today, you won't see it in your bank account tomorrow. But this is where the magic of compounding takes over. Kaizen in trading is about the daily review. It is the discipline of the trading journal. Every evening, the Kaizen trader sits down and dissects their performance, not to judge themselves, but to find the friction. They look for the small leaks in their psychology where fear or greed crept in. They treat their trading plan like a blade that must be sharpened every single day. If the blade is not sharpened, it becomes dull, and a dull blade is useless in the heat of battle. When you adopt Kaizen, the pressure to be perfect disappears. You realize that you don't need to be a genius, you just need to be slightly better than you were yesterday. This philosophy shifts your focus from the outcome, the money, to the process, the skill. And ironically, the more you focus on the process, the more money follows. The Kaizen trader isn't chasing the market. They are building a machine that eventually outruns the market through sheer, consistent evolution. There's a traditional Japanese aesthetic that finds beauty in the imperfect, the impermanent, and the incomplete. It is called wabi-sabi. You can see it in the cracked glaze of a tea bowl, the weathered wood of an ancient gate, or the falling leaves of autumn. It teaches us that nothing is perfect, nothing is finished, and nothing is permanent. For a trader, wabi-sabi is perhaps the most difficult and yet most liberating philosophy to embrace. We're taught from childhood that losing is bad. We're conditioned to seek the 100% score, the perfect record, the flawless victory. When a trader enters the market with this mindset, they are destined for a psychological breakdown. Why? Because the market is inherently imperfect. It is a chaotic system driven by millions of flawed human beings. To expect a perfect result from a chaotic system is a form of madness. When a trader takes a loss, they feel a sense of shame. They feel that they have broken their record. But the wabi-sabi trader looks at a loss differently. They see it as a necessary crack in the vessel. There's a famous Japanese art form called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. The philosophy is that the piece is more beautiful for having been broken. The scars are not something to be hidden, they are part of the story. Your losses are your kintsugi. Every failed trade, every mistake, and every market crash you survive adds a gold-filled crack to your experience. A trader who has never lost is a trader who is fragile. They don't know how they will react when the inevitable crisis hits. But a trader who has embraced wabi-sabi, who accepts that a 60% win rate is not only okay but beautiful, is a trader who cannot be broken. Wabi-sabi allows you to forgive yourself. It allows you to stop fighting the what-ifs. What if I had exited sooner? what if I hadn't missed that move? The wabi-sabi answer is, the move was imperfect, the execution was flawed, and that is exactly how it was meant to be. By accepting the ugly side of trading, the losses, the drawdowns, the days where nothing goes right, you take away the power those events have over your emotions. You stop seeking a perfect strategy and start seeking a robust one. You realize that a trading account is like a garden. It has seasons of growth and seasons of decay. You don't panic when the leaves fall in winter because you know it is part of the cycle. In the silence of wabi-sabi, the trader finds the ultimate edge, peace. While others are losing their minds over a red day, the wabi-sabi trader is calm, appreciating the imperfection of the journey, ready to trade another day. In the islands of Okinawa, known for having the longest-lived people on Earth, there is a concept that defines the very architecture of a meaningful life. It is called ikigai. Translated literally, it means the reason for which you wake up in the morning. Most traders enter the financial markets with a single narrow motive: money. On the surface, this seems logical. We trade to gain capital. However, if money is your only anchor, you are anchored to a ghost. Money is a fluctuating digital representation of value that can vanish in a heartbeat. When the market turns hostile, and it will, money alone is not a strong enough why to keep your spirit from breaking. To find your ikigai in trading is to look at the intersection of 4 circles: what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. The professional trader who survives decades is someone who has found a deeper mission within the charts. For some, it is the intellectual thrill of solving a global puzzle, the challenge of deciphering the collective psychology of millions. For others, it is the pursuit of absolute personal autonomy, the ability to provide for their family and community without being a cog in a corporate machine. When your trading is linked to your ikigai, the nature of the work changes. You no longer view a red day as a loss of your worth. You view it as a tuition fee paid to the school of life. You realize that you are not just clicking buttons, you are mastering a craft. You are becoming a person of character, patience, and resilience. Think of the Japanese craftsman who spends 30 years learning to polish a single piece of wood. He's not doing it just for the paycheck. He's doing it because the act of polishing is his path to self-actualization. If your trading is your path to becoming a better human being, more disciplined, more humble, more aware, then you have found your ikigai. This sense of purpose acts as a psychological shield. It prevents the desperation that leads to over-leveraging. It stops you from gambling because you realize that your career is a marathon, not a sprint. You wake up excited for the process, and because you love the process, the profits eventually become a natural byproduct of your existence. The image of the samurai is one of the most enduring symbols of discipline in human history. But a samurai's true strength did not lie in his sword, it lay in his mind. There is a term in Japanese martial arts called fudoshin, which means immovable mind. Imagine a warrior standing in the middle of a battlefield. Arrows are flying, horses are charging, and the smell of smoke fills the air. If that warrior allows his mind to be moved by fear, he dies. If he's moved by anger, he makes a mistake, and he dies. He must remain like a mountain, observing everything, but shaken by nothing. Now look at the modern trader. The battlefield is the glowing screen. The arrows are the volatility spikes. The noise is the endless stream of news and social media chatter. Most traders have a movable mind. When the price moves up, they feel a surge of euphoria and greed. They start thinking about what they will buy with their profits. When the price moves down, they feel a crushing weight in their chest. They feel fear, shame, and the impulse to run. Their emotions are a slave to the candle. They are not in control. The market is controlling them. To trade like a samurai is to cultivate zanshin, a state of relaxed alertness. It is the ability to sit in front of the charts with a heart rate that never changes. Whether you just won $10,000 or lost it, your internal state remains the same. This is not about being a robot, it is about being a master of your biological impulses. The samurai lived by a code, Bushido. In trading, your code is your trading plan. A samurai does not ask, "Do I feel like fighting today?" He simply fulfills his duty. A trader does not ask, "Do I feel like taking this stop loss?" He simply executes the plan. The moment you hesitate to take a loss, or the moment you jump into a trade without a signal because you're afraid of missing out, you have lost your immovable mind. You have let the enemy, your own ego, win. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. In the Japanese tradition, discipline is not a punishment, it is a form of self-love. It is the highest honor you can give yourself. By strictly following your risk management, by waiting for your specific setup, and by walking away when the market is unclear, you are acting with the dignity of a warrior. You are proving that you are the master of the machine, not the other way around. To understand the modern financial chart, we must travel back to the 18th century, to the Dojima Rice Exchange in Osaka. It was here that a man named Munehisa Honma changed the world of finance forever. Honma was not just a trader, he was a philosopher of the crowd. He realized that while the supply and demand of rice were important, the emotions of the traders were the true drivers of price. He began to record the price movements using a system that would eventually become the Japanese candlestick. This was the birth of technical analysis as we know it today. In a Western bar chart, we see price points, but in a Japanese candlestick, we see a story. We see a battle. The body of the candle represents the territory won or lost by the bulls or the bears. The wicks or shadows represent the rejection, the moments where one side tried to push but was repelled by the other. When you look at a doji, a candle where the opening and closing prices are identical, you are looking at a moment of pure Zen. It is a state of mu or emptiness. The market is in total equilibrium. It is the breath before the scream. A trader who understands the wisdom of the doji knows that the trend is exhausted and a reversal or a violent continuation is coming. They do not rush in. They wait for the market to reveal its next intention. Then there is the hammer. Imagine the market falling, fear gripping the hearts of everyone involved. Suddenly, a long wick forms at the bottom. This is the tail of the hammer. It tells us that the sellers tried to drive the price into the abyss, but the buyers stood their ground like a fortress. It is a sign of resilience, a visual representation of a market that has found its floor. Honma's secret was his Sakata rules. He understood that markets move in cycles of 3 and 5. He looked for patterns like the 3 black crows or the morning star, but he didn't view these as mathematical formulas, he viewed them as psychological snapshots. The modern trader often gets lost in indicators, RSI, MACD, Bollinger Bands. These are all lagging calculations of the past. The candlestick, however, is the now. It is the most direct communication from the soul of the market. By mastering the candles, you are learning to read the language of human fear and human greed. You are looking at the footprints of the big money in the snow. To trade with the wisdom of the candles is to stop guessing and start observing. You become like a tracker in the woods, looking for the bent blade of grass or the broken twig. You don't predict where the deer will go, you follow the tracks it has already left. This is the ultimate gift of the Japanese merchant philosophers, the ability to see the invisible through the visible. We have walked the path from the empty cup of Shoshin to the immovable mind of the samurai. We have seen how the ancient wisdom of Japan provides a mirror for the modern world of finance. But as we close this journey, we must realize one vital truth. Trading is not something you do between the hours of 9 to 5. It is a way of being. If you are chaotic in your personal life, you will be chaotic in your trading. If you are greedy in your daily interactions, you will be greedy on the charts. If you cannot control your temper in a traffic jam, you will never control your temper when a trade goes against you. The trader's lifestyle is a commitment to the way, the do, as in judo or kendo. It is a path of self-refinement. The market is the ultimate truth teller. It does not care about your excuses, your background, or your dreams. It only reflects your discipline and your clarity. When you adopt these philosophies, you stop being a market participant and start being a market master. This doesn't mean you win every time. It means you are no longer a victim of the outcome. You find peace in the wabi-sabi of a loss. You find excitement in the kaizen of a small improvement. You find stability in your ikigai. As you close your trading terminal today, do not leave these lessons behind. Take the discipline of the samurai into your health. Take the humility of Shoshin into your relationships. Take the persistence of Kaizen into your hobbies. The goal of the Zen trader is not just to have a high bank balance, but to have a high level of consciousness. Money is simply the byproduct of a mind that has found its center in the middle of a storm. You are no longer just a person trying to make money. You are a practitioner of a high art. You are a warrior of the spirit. The candles will continue to flicker. The prices will continue to dance, but you will remain still. This is the way. This is the Zen of the markets. Trading is the ultimate journey of self-discovery. If you are ready to move beyond the noise and master the discipline of the Zen trader, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your transformation starts with a single click.